So I'm a theater kid. I don't know if you guys knew. I talk about this all the time that like I'm super artsy and like I've grown up in the arts. Alhamdulillah, I've been able to see a few Broadway plays in my life. Lion King is my favorite. No one should be surprised. I love Lion King. No, like I'm not joking. Hold on. The blanket I sleep in is from Lion King. But Wicked isn't one that I've ever seen. My sister saw Wicked and she really liked it. And there's some lore between me and like the whole Wizard of Oz world. So if you didn't know, if it wasn't very obvious, I'm black. Specifically, I'm African American. My first introduction to the world of the Wizard of Oz was The Wiz, which is a movie that came out in the 70s. But it was also based off of a play. The movie with Diana Ross as Dorothy, with Michael Jackson as a scarecrow. That is my first introduction to this world, like the Wizard of Oz, to the point where I don't think I've ever seen the Wizard of Oz. Like I didn't hear about it until I was a teenager, and people were talking about like following the yellow brick road, and I'm like, we're not easing down the yellow brick road. Like I watch the Wiz every year, like around like Christmas time. Me and my family, we watch the Wiz. I love the Wiz, okay? But I never seen the Wizard of Oz, and I've never seen Wicked. I knew Wicked was about the Wicked Witch of the West, Elphaba, but the Wicked Witch that I grew up knowing was Eveline. You know what I mean? So because I didn't know about the Wizard of Oz, I didn't feel connected to Wicked, moral of the story. But with the movie coming out, I wanted to go see it because, like I said, I'm a theater kid. I also really do like Cynthia Erivo in regards to like, her vocal talent. Yeah, I think she's extremely talented as an actress and also as a singer, as a performer. My mom loves her in The Color Purple. But yeah, I know she's talented, so I wanted to watch it. Ariana, you know, like it was a big movie. Everybody went to go see Wicked, right? I saw Wicked with my mom and my sister, and I was shocked at how taken away with it like I was. First of all, Elphaba and Glinda are literally me and my sister. Like I am Elphaba to the teeth. If y'all watched my We Are Lady Parts video, told y'all, showed pictures. I am like the emo goth girl. Like that, I mean, look at me. That has been like my life, you know? And also just being extremely like brilliant, extremely like smart, extremely bright. But people not liking you, people kind of detesting your greatness, but also being turned off by how different you are. It's like really been my life story. Like, the overall feeling I left the theater with after I saw Wicked, and I've now seen it 3 times, is I do not understand how anyone but a black woman was able to ever play Elphaba. Now, I do know because of FD Signifier's video with Princess Weeks, who I love Princess Weeks and I love FD, talking about how there's definitely a history between anti-Semitism and the portrayal of Jewish women as witches. And we're talking about lore, we're talking about like in historical context, we're talking about like, you know, even the imagery of what a witch is, the noses, all of that is rooted in anti-Semitism. So definitely understand Idina Menzel. Is that her name? Yes. Idina Menzel, who was the original Elphaba, who was another amazing, talented vocalist and actress. I'm holding space for that expression of Elphaba, but I think I can speak for everyone when I say that Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba breathed life into this role in a way that I don't think other people have ever experienced before. I think people were able to see Elphaba in a new light. I say that I don't understand how anyone but a black woman could play Elphaba because, one, the main discrimination against Elphaba is the color of her skin. Right. And it being so significantly different from everyone around her. Like, green is such a stark, you know, color. And for me, I emphasize that because her being green specifically correlates to blackness, is what I'm trying to say. And I have a theory that all green characters that you've ever seen are most likely like black coded. First person in my head, Piccolo. Like, I'm dirty as fuck. Piccolo is a black man. Piccolo is black and Muslim. Hello? Yoda. Very old, like grandpa black coded, okay, speaking in rhythms and poems and rhymes, okay. Gamora, you know, like all the green characters you think of are very black coded, if not explicitly like basically being black. Elphaba is no exception. Elphaba's experience of being ostracized, of being questioned, of being critiqued, of being othered, of being seen as not human, and specifically with her kind of countering Ariana Grande as Galinda, not really even being seen as feminine or woman either, is such a black woman experience. Even when Elphaba is introducing herself to people, she's like, yeah, like I didn't eat grass, like I was born this color, da-da-da. It's something that black women experience all the time. People have conversations with you about your hair. As a hijabi, I also have to tell people I don't don't shower or sleep with my head. Well, I sleep with a scarf on because I'm Black, not because I'm Muslim. That intersectionality anyway. But you know, like these are conversations that like women of color, and specifically Black women, understand. The intense othering, the denial of softness and femininity that is afforded to other women. And FD said this in his video, that essentially the conversation of like Elphaba versus Galinda is really just like Black women versus white feminism and white female allyship, quote unquote, which I think is such a good, like, it's such a good observation because it's 100% correct. Most white women view themselves as Glinda. Like, fully, like, Glinda, Ariana Grande embodied white womanhood, white fragility, white feminine, like, embodied that. You know what I mean? And it is those people who will fully be able to be like, oh, something is wrong, or I'm being discriminated against because I'm a woman, but cannot step outside of themselves to realize this still vast amount of privileges that they hold, but also the realities of what it is to be woman and, you know, women and Black, women and disabled, women, you know what I mean? Women and dark skin. Like, they did a really good job of making Elphaba Black in other ways outside of just like the greenness of her skin, like the micro braids and like the nails and like the outfit. Like, it was very Black coded. I also didn't realize that the movie was gonna have so much commentary on oppression. A lot of people, I think, can see themselves in this movie, whether you think about like the animals and like how they're literally being like ostracized and treated as like second-class citizens. You can directly correlate how the animals are treated to obviously like Jewish people in history, but even more recent, you can correlate that to what's going on in Palestine. And it's definitely another conversation that we have to have about how white authors, white writers, white creators, they usually co-opt the oppression of Black and brown marginalized people in real life and put it into their work in a fantastical way. It's very interesting when I think about like the conversations we've been having about Hunger Games, which I did a whole video about Hunger Games in Palestine, and how people understand revolution and understand oppression in this fantastical world, right? Like, you can see objectively how horrible it is to treat the animals in that type of way, but we don't feel that same amount of humanization or guilt for people, for immigrants or migrants in the US, migrant workers. We don't feel that way about them, but we do about like the flying monkeys. You know what I mean? It's just very, 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 very interesting to see. Also, the subtle nuance of Elphaba's relationship with her dad versus her sister. I hated her sister so bad. Oh my God. I hated her sister so bad. What a loser. Like, unfortunately, the experience of being a Black woman is so isolating. It is very, 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 very lonely. And the only people that we have are each other. And so that's why I think it really hurts when Black women reach for other markers of superiority, whether it's colorism, featureism, hair texture. All of that is really, really disappointing because we are supposed to be in solidarity with each other. And so her sister neglecting her at every step really pissed me off. But also, the greenness of Elphaba's skin really speaks to colorism that is very prevalent, specifically in Black families. Like, the lighter skinned child or grandchild or aunt or cousin experiences a higher level of treatment than the darker skinned cousins and grandchildren and children. Unfortunately, that is how nuanced and intricate white supremacy is, that even in a, homogenous society or group, you're still gonna find a way to replicate that supremacy within yourself. It's very frustrating, but I think once again it just speaks to like how well the movie was done. And even if the creator, the director didn't intend for these themes to be picked up, Black people, we know. Like, the girls that get it. Another thing that Elphaba really, really signified for me, especially this third watch. So I watched the first time with my family, I watched it the second time with that man, and I watched it for the third time here in my house. And I cried every time, especially when I'm Not That Girl. We're going to talk about desirability in a second, but I'm Not That Girl is an amazing song, but they also Defying Gravity, right? Which I actually am really disturbed by people turning Defying Gravity into a meme because it's such an powerful and important song, and like the is fun. Sorry. What's funny? I don't know. I don't like that, but I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about art. But anyway, I cried every time I watched the movie because I just really feel that, like I said before, life for Black women is isolating, but also Black women have to save everyone. Black women have to carry everyone on our backs, and Black women naturally, who we are such caring and devoting and and kind-hearted, dedicated, generous people. Black women will take off the clothes on our backs to give to other people, and no one looks at us and does the same. And so I'm watching like Elphaba, right? And like she's essentially charting her own path, her own territory, doing her own thing. You know, when she's like, no one can bring me down, no wizard that there is or was ever gonna stop me, okay? And to the ones that counted me out, I'm gonna be back in bed, I'm gonna do my big one. You know, like, I love that, right? Like, she looks like a superhero. She looks so strong and powerful. She looks like a revolutionary. Like, it's funny that it's Cynthia Erivo because it's giving how we see Harriet Tubman and like all these other really important Black women in history. But on the flip side, it does play into the Black mammy savior trope just a bit because we're put uniquely at like the bottom of the totem pole. This is not the oppression Olympics, but I'm sorry, Black women are never going to win that one. We're always at the bottom of everyone's list. Because of that, we understand across many categories what it means to be disenfranchised and marginalized. And so we feel a responsibility when giving the opportunity to do better and for others and how we've been treated. But I'm thinking about the weight of that. Like Madame Morgul turning against Elphaba, basically calling her a darky, rude, stupid was crazy. I'm sorry for cussing. That was hard to see. Elphaba grew up with her family neglecting her, her sister turning against her, Galinda turned against her. Like, it is so very isolating and hard to be a Black woman. It is so hard to be a Black woman. And I feel for her to carry this revolution, to carry the goodness, to carry righteousness on your back, on your own, while still being painted as the devil. Oh, girl. Oh, it's something that Black women know all too well. Watching the movie from the beginning is crazy because they're celebrating Elphaba's death, and that makes me cry. And it's like, Glinda, how dare you? How dare you? Ooh, white women. Ooh, white women. Glinda, how dare you? You don't have half the talent that she had on her finger. You only got that wand, Glinda, because of Elphaba. But now you Glinda the Good Witch. Glinda the Good Witch. Oh my God. Let's talk about desirability. So the song I'm Not That Girl is my favorite song of the soundtrack. I remember hearing it the first time I watched it and I was like, this is speaking to me. And it speaks to the idea that Black women are... I gotta save this for my story time. But there is something that happens when Black women are met or experienced by non-Black men. And they are so intrigued and attracted to us, but because Black women are once again at the bottom of the totem pole, it is always a kind of like dissonance between what these men really want and who they are attracted to naturally and who they feel like they should be with. I feel like Fiyero was naturally attracted and drawn to Elphaba, but societally he was bred and groomed to want somebody like Galinda. And usually Black women are in that position and it leaves us like kind of feeling left behind. But it's also such a really like messed up situation because you know when somebody's attracted to you, like you know when somebody wants you, you know when somebody is vibing with you, but they don't choose you. You think that like chemistry or attraction, emotional intimacy, connection is enough, but then it's not. And like, how sad is that? You know, I'm interested to see what's going to happen in part 2. I hope Fiyero, he rides for my girl. Ooh, that would make me so happy. But yeah, it's something that really hit hard for me, especially watching the movie the second time with the guy that I liked, who, like, spoiler, that's really what the situation was. It was really triggering for me, but I felt it made me realize the importance of choosing yourself as a Black woman, and that if no one else does, you have to choose you all the time. You have to be the love of your own life. You have to be your soulmate. You have to be your top 2 and it ain't 2. You have to be that for you. You know what I mean? But it does speak to this idea that liking Black women can only be done in secret, that it has to be something you hide, that it has to be something illicit, that it has to be something that causes frustration or conflict. Like, I really hate that. Don't dream too far. Don't lose sight of who you are. He could be the boy, but I'm not that girl. Come with it. Okay. So yeah, I absolutely loved Wicked. It is now like a new comfort movie for me.